Hi Libra, how you doing? Okay, so third time's the charm. Libra. Well, first and foremost, if you're new here, thank you for being here. If you're returning, welcome back, of course. Last month's readings seem to be really big. I am so glad that conversation was of service. It was a big conversation, especially in a collective way, right? For the world to balance, well, one must know where they are. Do you know what I mean? Who they are, how heavy that is, when to lighten up, all these kinds of things. So I did already record your reading, but it felt necessary to do it again. It's okay that there's a little bit of energy there, but this month particularly, or whenever you find this, the foundation of that previous reading kept emphasizing over and over, and so we'll talk about it now, and then we'll dive into what one can create from that, right? After that recognition is there. But it was a lot about this month, or again, whenever you find this, that this is a time for you to take care of yourself, Libra. If you actually do that in this time frame, I see that that can actually hold your energy until probably September, like a 6-month process, which actually is a wonderful magic trick to be aware of, right? Your own energy and how that works. You will burn yourself out if you push too hard. And basically it was an overlap of last month, you know, where it's the overgiving leaves no room for receiving. And so please watch your energy during this month. Okay, it really is a big deal. Thing is this isn't a feeling that's unfamiliar to you. Before your reading, also, I'm using a deck of cards that is nice and crispy clean. I just all the old energies out of it. I cleared off all the old information that was a part of what we're connecting with now. It's like a clean slate. So let's start from there, but please remember, yes, oh wow. 2 majors, Temperance and Death cards, so Scorpio, Sagittarius, and then we have 8 of Pentacles on the bottom. This is a very fine line, leaning more into the shadow. There's a lot of light here. But I see again, particularly in this time frame. This time frame is very important. And actually, what comes in line after this is Pisces. Right? Is this time frame right now. So I heard take the guidance, wet dog. Take the guidance and grace that you are giving, that you are so good at giving to everyone else about. And to give, please give some of that softness to yourself. Because this is going to make all your relationships better. Oh, that was another thing to mention, especially during Pisces can represent drama, right? Or whatever kinds of, there's lots of beautiful, Pisces is an enormous vast of what it could be, right? It really could be infinite anyway. But there was another thing where it's like other people's drama, Libra, other people's stuff. It's not your problem, and perhaps during this time frame also you may need to make some stronger boundaries with certain things, whether that would just be you speaking more nicely to yourself, perhaps, like a different kind of self-talk, or giving yourself some space to be silent, so I guess you can hear more of the song that's being sung in your heart. Do you know what I mean? So again, I see your relationships become better, but really, especially if you're like a parent or there's like a work dynamic or something where if there's too much being added to your plate, you have to know where you're at, okay? And just be honest about that, right? Yep. Justice, yes. And if there is anything that you feel like you cannot handle, well, just be honest. It's not a big deal. Don't load it on. Don't pile it high and deep. You know what I mean? Ace of Swords, Three of Wands. No, because if you start out with the Angel of Light and the Angel of Darkness, right? Again, this is a very fine line. There's something you're learning about Sagittarius. Like, or you figured something out there. I guess you just learned something really good here. When it comes to Scorpio, there could be more of a conversation needs to be had. We also have Aquarius. So bright, you gotta wear shades. Let's choose some new energy, Libra. I don't want to go too fast for you. I feel like it would be so wise, yes, to slow down. So again, I heard, so you can hear the song of your heart that's being sung. Libra. What feels familiar right now? Is that familiar place healthy? Whoa. Two more majors. Interesting. Hierophant and the Emperor. Both dressed in red. Both have crowns. Hierophant has a free hand, though. Emperor doesn't. Emperor has his hands full. So maybe this is also, whether this is, I don't know, it could be the others in your life. Okay, so there's something about someone saying, I can't handle that, or I can't handle that right now. Right? Because there's different ways to say that, those words together, right? Like, oh, I can't handle that. Or it is, I can't handle that right now. So I guess there's what's the change there? There's inflection, tone, and then there's a time frame at the end, right? Which I guess if it would be something that needed to be handled right now. That's a private joke between Tony Francis and I and Scummy Bob. Anyway, right now. Oh, Knight of Cups right now. So, if it needed to ultimately be done then, and you, for instance, someone asked you to do it, or you felt like you wanted to do that because it was something you wanted to do, okay. But again, knowing, I keep seeing a set of scales and someone's tweaking it. You're trying to get it real close. Like, really, somebody's trying to get something so close. Because when it's the latter, right? I can't handle that right now. And especially with a smile on your face. Well, I guess that represents a person that knows who they are and where they are. Like we said in the beginning, right? Okay. Because again, that doesn't diminish one's value. I can't handle that right now. It doesn't diminish the value now. I guess it depends what you're talking about. Hermit. because it depends what you're talking about. So I guess this could also be delegating duties correctly, you know, splitting things up, making sure things are more fair, not being involved in other people's drama also. Please and thank you, right? Because I'm sure you need someone to lean on too. You know, I've been thinking about that lately, like the strength of the tribe. Do you know what I mean? And of course, everyone has different skill sets, but everyone also is supposed to at least be able to be handling all 4 of the elements, 5, if you will, equally speaking, right? Some sort of balance in there. It helps. It helps a lot. I feel like this would be more of the father or the male or something like that, also taking up a leadership role. If you are the female Libra energy is masculine naturally, right? It's air. But this particularly would be the other people in the tribe that are taking on the action that needs to be handled. This is also like a really strong, well, in a lot of tribes, the males were the ones who were the spiritual solidifiers. You know what I mean? In a kind of way. And again, I see taking on a leadership role. That's important. And again, I saw the delegating task. That was also an old Gemini reading. If you want to go there, it's your trine to you, right? You can learn from them. They actually pull your energy, right? So that's a good one to know. Because you know the thing is, Libra, is if you fall into the... Yeah. Like if you fall into the trap of... Well, the sidewalk, right? Of misdirected energy. Do you know what I mean? Then you may start to question your own self-value and like undo some cool fixing that you did. And what you need to do right now is chill so that you can take that time to be able to create with your mind about what you want the future to be. Right? And not just a future that feels familiar, but where that comfort is also healthy. Does this make sense? Okay. This energy is definitely more chill. You know what the other reading was? Too, is that it was like when you get fed up. Do you know what I mean? We talked about this last month. Like, remember how big that reading was last month? If you're new here, it's called The Child. It's really important. Hey, baby. Hi, sweetie pie. You want to come here? You just want to stare at me from afar. Point is that you don't like to fight, right? So don't push it. And please know that your emotional security is yours and yours alone. It is not dependent upon your children. It's not dependent upon your lover. It's not dependent upon your friends, your family. No, it's just you. I mean, you and God. Like, wherever you think you come from. The magic of whatever created you. You know? And so I guess disengaging from things and even stepping back. Maybe some of you need a little, not exactly a vacation, because there's still things to attend to. Because this isn't meant to be vacation time. No. No. And perhaps Pisces reading could be helpful for you also. maybe to help you figure out what you've been thinking about, or how to put things in order, or where there's some maybe unconscious, some subconscious fears. You know what I mean? I mean, you could very well be aware of them, but like maybe how strong they are, or again, how far you've come, right? And since you just dug into a huge inner child reading last month, and in a general way, I mean, we do those kinds of readings here a lot, but that's a big one. Don't forget that that's just what was happening. Do you know what I mean? Now, it's not to say that you're meant to live in the past. No, you want to be warm where you are and confident in your choices, right? But also prepared for the coming seasons, you know? And know what it takes for something to, like, emotions to air out. But you do have to keep paddling, and I guess maybe that's the thing, is Libra in the ocean. If you're a quincunx, it's almost like you don't have a boat in Pisces. You know, somehow, way or another, you ended up in the sea by yourself, at least during this time frame, is the way I'm seeing it. And it's like you can see the land, but if you try to, again, push it, you'll drown. You have to doggy paddle, you have to just float a little bit. Now, again, this is not to say that things are not being done. It's not a vacation land. It's being practical about the emotional space, so that when you come out of this season and you're moving forward, that you have clear eyes, that you are rested, right? You won't be able to do anything when you reach that land if it's a repeat story. Do you know what I'm saying? So I guess it's something about remember, familiar is not always healthy. For most people, it's not. If we did the ultimate scale, and so maybe that's something else you want to weigh that out. You know, what's familiar right now, that's regular, that's reliable, that you feel really successful about. You know, Six of Wands is about achieving something great. But then he comes to town and he takes a rest. Because remember, and somebody else talked about this, like the Seven of Wands comes after that, which is about having the endurance to deal with something, to stave something off, or to stand up for something, or to hold ground, you know, and not be the barking dog reacting out of some unconscious place. Do you know what I mean? It's more settled. And so you need that to again, focus on what your options really are. Yes, a Fool and the and the High Priestess. This is great faith. What have the last 2 years shown you? Because if you take that rest, yes, Ace of Wands and the Judgment card, well then you get like there's like a spiritual gift. Yeah, get a great idea. You find a really wonderful idea. You find a new perspective about something. It's very clear. Again, like clear eyes. You start to realize like how to define your relationships correctly. Perhaps. That's beautiful. Clear communication. Everybody wants that. To be understood. Cool. It's a pretty day today. This morning it was cold and it was foggy. It reminded me of like Ireland or something, but it's cold and it was foggy. It reminded me of the sea actually, which is interesting. I'm not, that's not that close to me. But then the clouds finally, the sun was behind it, bright, sort of reflecting, and then the clouds dissipated, and now it's a clear blue day. Warm sun. And I feel like that's a bit of how this month you may move through this month. So remember how emotional it is for you also. And how it's a great clearing. You know what I mean? Pisces is kind of, in a collective sense, I guess it's a washer away of things, right? All the darkness tends to go to the bottom of the ocean. So if you're willing to surrender, then you actually can achieve so much. Things that are more healthy, things that are more spiritually sound, more well thought out, wise, right? Taking that knowledge and then applying it, wisdom. It's a good Virgo lesson for you also. Somebody you may care about may be down in the dumps right now, or not trying to hear something. But this goes back into, if anybody else's problems, Libra, unless it is literally your job to, somebody needs directions, that's your job, you give directions, whatever. But like more interpersonal relationships, please do not engage. Like, do not try to make them feel better. It's okay for you to put a little bit more of the focus on yourself, especially any of you who have children, or there are children in your life, especially you as an adult now, working on that inner child again. Like, that shows great example. Do you know what I mean? And so that work needs to be done. And there's no way anybody can solve an inner child or whatever, like any kind of internal process, completely and clearly in such a short period of time. It depends where you are on the path. So maybe, again, especially if you're married or there's a family dynamic, you really want to be like, I can't, like, I keep seeing someone, like a teenager having a tissy fit, or like a toddler screaming or something, and like there's two people there, and one of them is just like, I really need you to handle this right now, and the other person's like, okay, got it. You know what I mean? Because there's like a partnership there. But I guess whoever is asking for these kinds of things is taking more of a masculine role in expressing, but it's coming from this softer place, which I guess is a huge lesson of what you're learning. Okay. And then, of course, there's differences too, where you may come to a place where, for instance, you asking, right, and someone doing, that's nice, that's a good extra, right, to have support. But then I guess with certain partnerships too, there may be questions of, I guess with all that fatherly masculine energy, they're like kings here, etc. It's kind of like people taking up initiative on their own, because that's also what makes a good tribe. And Pisces talked a lot about that last month too. I do feel like there's a big change in perspective for you, if you please. Especially in a kind of cleansing of some old stuff. Right? Again, last month there was a door that opened. It was like a door that opened. Right? Maybe a couple few, actually. Maybe some windows and some doors. But that means you're airing it out. And that's good. Things need space. Right? Now, and then, because to focus on the future means you must be in the present with an awareness of the past. Focus on the future. What would you like that to be, Libra? Should we ask an advice about that before we go? What about the future? I don't generally ask about the future fully. Oh, there will be less confusion. I think part of the reeling back also is helping you to, in the future, you will have more choices. But if the quiet time is needed now, or that replenishment is needed now, so that, again, you have clear eyes. I keep seeing someone having very clear eyes. It's like hawk vision. Do you know what I mean? So nothing gets past you. But you're not necessarily on guard. You're just like aware of what's happening. Do you see what I'm saying? And you don't want to rush anything because you'll actually miss an opportunity. But you don't want to be... Because what you're trying to do is reach the land. Right? And again, now you can see it. It's not that far. But I guess if you try to get to the physical in this month, this month is more about ideas for you, like plans, making a plan, you know, or taking a step back to see a different perspective. Because this year. King of Wands and the Two of Cups. I guess the future focus is about people who are on the same team. People who don't have to worry about other people because other people take up the initiative to try to be their best self. To try to do a good job in this life, right? And I see people understanding one another. There's love here. Two of Cups also to me is a very individual card, even though there's two people on it. You know, because it's coming to know, again, like, your more emotional nature, and then also more of your action self, your choice self, that way. King of Wands is very passionate, very independent. This is actually a physical creation, too. An expression that creates something solid. Right? They're very much in charge, and there's another king. Maybe the father reading, which is 27. Maybe the father reading, Pisces, the father. You could look it up that way. I don't remember when exactly it was. That could also help, perhaps, right? We just had the child, then the father. I don't know if we've done a reading called the mother. That's interesting. But, you know, I guess that's the thing, too, is... You're a big kid now, right? You can ride the big ride. You have all those previous experiences to help teach you, right? Your awareness now of your ancestors and, like, where things come from and how to get over them and how to become emotionally stronger. It's all there, too. You know? And I guess it probably would be, remember, there's probably, for some of you, there's still a strong mother wound. It's a family wound, I guess is what it is. But I also see that depending on where you're on the path, there's also great success here. So no matter what, that arrives, right? I guess we were talking about the future. So, and remember, from now, if you replenish now, I feel like that's one of Pisces' words this month. If you leave other people to their own problems, chill when you can, do what you need to do, just keep it real basic. Super basic, then I feel like you'll be able to, again, hold some sort of, it's almost like chi energy until the opposite season, like September. Like, you'll have a good garden, you know what I mean? Huh. And you do have to be aware, I guess, as you go along, of toxic relationships too. You know, what's healthy. We talked about this. Familiar is not generally healthy. It can be. And so just be aware there. Yes, please, because you have a great opportunity to create, which must mean that you're kind of towards the end of one part, right? So that you can have a new part. Yep. Maybe for some of you, this is a stronger bond between you and your partner, or like, I guess this is also you taking on appropriate Aries, your opposite energies, force. Do you know what I'm saying? Or like when to exert it or how, and also especially, wow, there's so much. Huh. How are you like your father? What do you like about your father? How did he take care of the family? Interesting, Libra. All right. Let's do one more card just to kind of, I want to shift one more spot. That was kind of, yes, get out of here. Okay, when you, Pisces talked about this, it would be a helpful reading. When you see when the devil shows up, you need to know when to be afraid. Or, you know, like, what's healthy? You know, I guess there's contemplation of that. And to ensure that wherever you have built healthiness, it stays. Do you know what I mean? Because I've been thinking about Jupiter and Pisces in a collective sense, and there's so much beautiful spiritual expansion there. But this could also be where people spiral. And but it could be whirlpool down, it could be whirlpool up. Some people just magnetically get stuck to the edges, you know, and it's like the same conversations, the same things. And I feel like with that Jupiter, it's meant to be expansive, you know, and build more faith in people. Next step. Clean air. I guess that's what you have to do this month, that quiet. Think about the laundry of your mind. The laundry of your mind. Long plan. Yeah, next step, what's the long plan, right? Not what's the now. What's the long plan? The laundry of your mind. I need to write this down. I will right now. Just a second so I don't forget. Laundry of your mind. Cool. I love you so much. I hope this was of service, of course. Thank you for being a part of this space. Yes. I was just thinking about that child reading. That was a big reading. That was vulnerable to have that reading. Like in a collective sense, you know what I mean? Good for you for that. For being honest. And addressing some you know, those are some harder questions for certain. And you know what? When you want to improve in and of yourself, your life improves. I mean, with Saturn, it's slow, sure. But anything well made is made slowly. You know? Okay. I'll talk to you next time.